Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning, where I'm back to being number one dad. Number two was supposed to be here, so we
Supposed
were
to be
supposed to
here.
have a reunion
Right.
show over here. I even put it in the title. Now it's going to be false advertising, but we're hoping he just got caught somewhere. He's on the run.
Oh man,
And
I
not
didn't notice that. Like you advertised it right there.
I
Like
advertised it. Now it's false advertising. We're gonna get sued, and I mean, here we go. But John is with us. What's happening?
yeah, continuing my streak of appearances. Like I told you, man, the injury bug is behind me. It's behind me. The run of
Getting
games
a
is
run of games, a
yeah,
run
the
of
run of
shows
games is
over here.
getting going, and it's not much news over the last day or so, right, Tim? No news at all. Like really, nothing
No
really.
news at
Yeah.
all. But Cersei says, okay, so we're gonna have to talk about this, by the way, too. Is it Wirtz? Is it Wirtz? So we need a German to confirm this. But the more I hear Germans say it sounds like it's Wirtz, not
It's
Wirtz. As
yeah,
I mean, I know the W was a V, and we
yeah.
talked about this actually a couple of weeks ago. But now I'm watching stuff last night because hey, once I got to Here We Go, all those saved YouTube videos came out. So I started watching some of them, and I hear like the German dude say Wirtz. So I think it's Wirtz. We'll go in with that. Yeah, Turkey and Philippines over here, but we would have been the blood American with actually Scouser blood in there because his dad's
Right.
side
Yeah.
obviously from there, but he's nowhere to be found. We'll see what's
Gordo
going
is
on.
the actual personification of our brand, right? He is an American. He's got right, like
I figured
he's,
he would be on giving some weird relationship references, like it's like when you have your girlfriend and
right.
you're like just like
It's
yeah, we
it's like
miss
it's
Gordo.
like relationships with a tinge of like World War II or something, something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about this. Yeah, what's up with that orange thing? Did he say something else afterwards? I know last night, I don't know, like right around like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., whatever it was. We got the Here We Go. It was like, okay, it's a done deal. I'm like, unleash the videos, kind of a deal. And then in the evening, I saw Lynch and Ornstein kind of like not poo-pooing it per se, but especially Lynch in his video says some people got excited, and I was like, "Well, name names, damn it! Like,
Yeah,
don't be
yeah.
like, don't go on YouTube and be like some people. There's only one guy announced it, and everybody is running with it now. I mean, they did say it's close, but it's not done yet. But I would think if when you get this, he has to be pretty sure about it before he throws this out there.
Right.
So and he talks to the agents. We were talking about him on Monday, so you would think so. He's done. He says
Yeah,
Ornstein wants
yeah. That's
to
what
stay
I was
on.
laughing. He's just going like this. My
Yeah,
goodness.
I mean that has to be the only thing, right? They're almost like bitter that it didn't come from them. So he's like, well, it's not even
Yeah,
done yet. Why did they jump the gun? But
yeah.
we gotta figure this out.
I think Fabrizio's brand, right, the "Here we go" phrase is so iconic right now that he wouldn't want to risk that by
Yeah,
being off the mark. So the fact that he went there, it's probably like 99.8, 99.9% done. And yeah, for me it's like an ego thing. Like, oh, he got it first. Like, how about I didn't get it first, so I'll just dispute it. Something like
yeah,
that, right? And I was just like, dude, just give it a rest, man. We're probably getting him. Like, it's been like what, almost a month now, where this whole thing has been
yep,
has been going on, and the fact that no other team is bothered approaching other teams with money, by the way, with probably more
yeah.
cash in hand that they could give up front than what we're giving right now, didn't come in for fears, right? Like I got it now. Says a lot. So I'm not too concerned. For me, it's just semantics. I don't know about you, Tim. It's just semantics for me. Like the other journalists being
Totally. I
like,
mean, it
yeah,
almost sounded like it didn't come from them. And let's face it, like if
yeah,
we were, I mean, we were talking, well, I know I was talking mad shit about Fabrizio because he will go,
yeah,
and that's the thing. I mean, Cersei is right. When I was like debating it, there's no way he's gonna throw it out there because, like you said, that Here We Go has some weight to it. Because if you get a Here We Go, like we're a lot more confident now. I mean, just think about it. If there are like 3, 4 journalists out there, one of them is saying yes, the other three are like, oh, well, I don't know, kind of thing. We were like, oh, maybe it's not done yet. But because of like the weight of what he says carries, because he's talking to the agents, like people actually working on the ordeal and stuff. And I almost feel like people are calling him at the stage then because you can get a Here We Go from Fabrizio and and no from the other guys, we're still like, he said, here we go, and then we're kind of like going with him because
Yeah.
like the reputation is on the line. He would not throw that out there unless it was
Same with Paul
almost done.
Joyce. Same with Paul Joyce as well.
Yes.
When he posts something like it's like what 99.9 nailed on happening. He's like the ceiling. He's the closer here. If he posts, then
Yeah.
it's probably like done already.
He's
Which
the
is what.
endo of transfer news. I don't see. I don't follow Lynch that much, but because I was on like a Wirtz marathon watching, and because it was in his title and it was Liverpool related, his video popped up. I was like, wait, what? And then like I watched it. It was only like 5 minutes or something like that, saying like, I don't want to paint a negative picture either. So it was almost like I don't want to say it's not done either, but it's not done kind of a deal. So it was just like, okay, well, thanks for everything. But so what do you think? I mean, obviously, the moment the deal is done, it's very natural for the rival fans to poo-poo the deal because of the dollar amount and stuff like that. They did the same thing with Van Dijk, so it's
Yeah.
normal. I find it hilarious that Manchester City fans, of all people, are making it sound like they're like these frugal businessmen because they're like, oh, we got 3 players for the same money and stuff. This is a team that just spent like 200 or 250 or whatever in January, for God's sake. So let's not talk about money spending. You guys worry
Right.
about your cases. But what do you make of it in terms of the price and everything like that?
There's an argument where it's you get what you pay for kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
And with Edwards, probably the only kind of flop that you would say that he's signed, that the only signing that hasn't really worked out was Naby Keita. But then at the same time with Keita, it's because he was injured. We saw the signs when he was healthy. He just never managed to get this run of games that I'm going on right now with the show. So like if he managed to get like maybe 5, 6, 7 in a row, who knows what would have happened. He's got a great record. Like internally, we know these stuff with Michael Edwards. Like he's got a good eye. He's got a good knack for choosing the right guy. The rival fans don't. That's why they're so up in arms. Like, no, they're paying 150 million. I thought this was supposed to be net spend FC and stuff like that. But yeah, like the context of that 150. If you knew, like the last time we spent that kind of money, like you were mentioning Man City, getting on their high horse talking about spending. You guys spend close to this amount almost every season. Like we haven't spent this amount since Allison, right? Since Allison, maybe like
Yeah,
or Van
I
Dijk.
mean, basically Coutinho money when we spent the
Right.
Coutinho money
Since the
at once.
Yeah, and that was funded by the Coutinho money, and this is coming from a summer where we didn't spend shit.
Yeah,
And then we won the league, right? So I don't know. Like sometimes you got to put tribalism aside, put 1 and 1 together equals 2, right? And think like, you know what? This big piece of expenditure makes sense. And it's funny. This is not coming from sales. Like what more when we sell Darwin, right? Maybe we sell Jota.
yeah.
We get some money, so we can actually spend more. It's just I don't
Well,
know.
do you think that's the case, or is it the other way around? Like those guys are the Coutinho money that's coming in afterwards.
I feel no. I actually feel like this is in our pockets. This was the 100 or so, like the remainder of the 100 or so that we were going to be spending on Saicedo, plus whatever revenue we got from this year. Like we didn't expect to win the league. Like we didn't expect to do as well as we did. So and obviously FSG, when Slot came in, they were more like, okay, you've got a decent squad here that we invested last, the summer before last, right? So how about you see what you can do with it first, and then we go from there. And this is the we go from there for me. This is them going like, okay, like you worked with the squad that we had, you won the league for God's sake. Now we're ready to back you fully, which is why
Yeah,
I feel like this is.
look, if it wasn't Wirtz, I don't think they're going around and like
Oh
spending
yeah,
money on
oh yeah.
multiple people or anything like that. Cersei says City spent 350 since January. They have a huge, and that's another thing I think. But hey, I mean, we've added 3 players. Well, not the third one yet. Third one is on the way with Kerkez supposedly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels like you might be adding 3 essentially starters over here. But forget starters. Let's bring this guy off the bench. The reunion. What's up, dude?
Let's
I put it
go.
in the ad and everything. I'm like, Gordo is back. And then it was a good tease though. Now you come in mid-show. What's happening?
Oh, volume,
no
my friend.
sound.
No volume, man. It was like that was a tease. That was a tease and a half.
Yeah, we're not getting any sound.
Yeah, we're
yet.
not getting
So
it.
you
We're
keep
not getting
talking. Eventually, when we hear you, we'll stop talking. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I see it online last night, like in our like reels and in our like images and on our social media and stuff like that. Like of all people, City and Chelsea fans talking shit is like hilarious because like are you guys gonna be kidding me? But at the same time, this does feel, and I was, I think I was talking about this on Monday's show, and I was telling Angie yesterday, like it feels weird and out of context that we are going after the big dollar one and City, because it would be the complete opposite, right? We would go get Turkey for like 30 or 40 or whatever they got him for.
Right. The
And
Moneyball
then,
signing.
they would go spend this money and people would yell at FSG and say, we don't have ambition and stuff like that. We're supposed to get these like world-class players. So it does feel odd, but at the same time, it's a huge statement to everybody that Liverpool is spending this money and going and getting like one of the best players out there.
Right. Or you want to give this to Gordo, see if his mic works.
Gordo? Nope, still no go.
Yeah, still no.
The mics in Texas are not what they used to be.
Yeah,
still no go.
You guys hear this?
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
There we are. All right.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. I'm sorry. I got a call at 8:59, and I'm the guy now. I'm the only guy, so there is no one else to call.
The tree guy.
Yeah, I can't shove it off. I'm in Fort Worth right now. So
nice.
Yeah, gonna do a cattle drive later this afternoon, but I'm in town for a conference, so I got a little bit of time this morning. So I thought, I haven't been on a show in forever.
Was that for real? Are you guys gonna do a cattle drive?
Yeah, every day there's two in Fort Worth. There's 2 cattle drives every day at the stockyards.
What does that mean? Like, what does that entail?
This is like a touristy thing. So basically, they just take a bunch of longhorns and they drive them through town. They get a bunch of cowboys and they push cattle from one side of the street to the other. They do it back and forth every day in Fort Worth.
I just Googled it. That looks so cool. Like I would want to be part of that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Over there. John is gonna be like,
no, Gordo doesn't know the context of the Google thing. He doesn't know the Google thing yet.
No.
Hey, Darvish just got news over here. They feel they can easily persuade them to join Liverpool. Liverpool's #1 striker acquisition. Liverpool are confident.
Oh man, I would wish that.
You're teasing now, man. Yeah. I don't know. Like, here's another thing. Like, as I watch more and more of him, he does play in terms of his passing. Gordo, Wirtz. Now that we've figured out how to say his name, does look like better when he's playing with the number 9 in front of him and stuff like that. But in our system, it almost feels like he would be better suited because he does a lot of Bobby-like things in terms of like his ball distribution and suddenly being able to get out of tight places and stuff. Do you think he is the last piece that's being added to the front? I mean, obviously Nunez will be sold and stuff like that, but or is it like, is there another striker like Darmish is saying on the way?
That's a really good question, because I think with Wirtz, is that what you said? Wirtz? That's how you pronounce it?
Wirtz.
W is a V. Like, I thought it was Wirtz all this time.
That's what I've been saying.
Yesterday, when I dove into this YouTube hole, all the European sources were still saying Wirtz. So I was like, let's go with Wirtz.
So he's good enough to play in that role. He's young enough to where he can adapt, because he's got a team around him now as well. He's got distribution from Mo. He's got, Gakpo's a great passer. If we keep Diaz, he's a good passer. He's got a fantastic passer behind him in McAllister and Gravenberch. So he could adapt to that role. We could push him in there. He's good enough to do it. I hesitate to see that we buy another attacker. It's one of these things where you don't often see 3 or 4 moves in one area of attack, and I'd rather see a defender come in next. And I know we talked about it last year. Isak, if he was healthy, sure, go ahead. But I don't think you're going to get him for anything under 100 million, and we're not going to pay that for anybody now that we've done this.
Yes.
And then secondly, I couldn't even justify 80 million for someone that has the injury track record as him. So maybe we do bring in a striker, but I don't think it's Isak.
I agree to that. I mean, I just don't see us. I mean, okay, I don't see us spending that kind of money twice in the same window, but I didn't even see it once, to be honest with you. So there goes that. I mean, I guess it really depends, John, on, like if you move Nunez and if you move Diaz for the dollar amount that's being spoken for.
Right.
But then you have to replace these players. So you can't just, I mean, I agree with Gordo. Like, you can't put the eggs in one basket and give Isak another 120, 130, and then he's going to be out. Now what? You're back to Jota, who's probably also out at the time.
Yeah, and I was saying, sorry to cut you off when you were talking. I was saying when we sell Nunez.
Yeah.
Not if. Yeah. Although I have been seeing some whispers online where, and I don't want to bring this up because Gordo is here. He just came in here, and I'm going to throw some Nunez talk on him.
I saw that online. I'm like,
Tim knows where I'm going. Tim knows where I'm going. With a creative 10.
Oh no! Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Listen. I am 100% just sell Nunez. I am just bringing up the idea because we are short on topics aside from Wirtz, right? The notion that maybe this is the guy who will finally unlock,
Okay. It's like they're crack addicts, man. They're crack addicts.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear, like
Tim mentioned it. Like, he prefers playing alongside an actual number 9. Like, I don't know.
An actual number 9 is the key word over there, not Nunez. I mean, my thing is, it gives me hope. Like, if there was like a Ted Lasso like situation that I landed as a striker at Liverpool, there'll be still people in the 50s and be like, let's try that Turkish guy one more time. Let's see if he gets any better, kind of a thing. It's just like, what the hell? I mean, yeah. John is Arteta.
Hey, listen, disclaimer, because this is probably going to get into a clip or something. I am for selling Nunez. I have given up on him like 1/3 into last season. It's just funny that there's still some in the Nunez cult who are up and around. Like,
it's the ex-girlfriend that keeps hanging around. She's changed. She's changed this time. She's different this time.
Exactly. Like Tim and I called back to their girlfriend analogy a few weeks ago, Gordo, where she's still looking good. Like, he's still looking at her. Like, she's got the body, she's got the profile, but she's a bit of an airhead. Unfortunately.
There is a point where you look at the X and you only see the bad, right? Like, you only see the, you're like this, so like, you only see the bad. And I'm at that point with Nunez. Like, when I look at him, I only see him being offside, being missing, and not giving effort. I don't see the
Nunez people, though. The Nunez people, they get that gap, that summer break where they don't watch him at all. That's when you take the break. I can't take this anymore, and you leave. 3 months later, you're like, man, she wasn't that bad, was she? Like, really?
Yeah.
She's changed. I've seen her Instagram. She's changed.
I can tell that's a college ex for Gordo. He's the reference. As you come back, you're like, yeah, I got you. I know how that works. Okay.
Let's just change topic before we get in too deep with this bullshit about Nunez. Yeah, let's just change topic.
Yeah, exactly. We did miss college stories, but yeah, I mean, look, it's a huge. I guess that's my biggest thing, Gordo, is this is like uncharted territory over here where we spend ridiculous amounts on a top guy and bring him over. I can understand the rival response. I just don't understand the fan response as much. Is it just like, where is that coming from? Is that the last of the FSGR people, like they're on the cliff, like in a movie, they only have their fingers left up there, and then now this big signing comes in, and they're like, just like falling down, or what?
You asking me?
Yeah, because you're Mr. FSG out. I'm just kidding.
No. I was like, that's not me. I think this is going to be a tough one, right? This is the one where, like, you've got, what else are you going to say about him? You really can't. I mean, because this is the culmination of all those years of spending good money. You know, we've won trophies without spending this kind of money, and now we've done it again twice since they've been in charge, and now we've gone after the big fish. And that was the one thing that they always had was they don't spend enough money in the transfer window. And now we're about to seal like the precipice that I was on in January when like there were no deals. We were potentially losing 4 of the spine of the team, the most talented players on the team. And where I'm at now is insane. I'm still waiting for him to go, gotcha, bitch. Like, we didn't sign all these players. What is this? It's only June, all right? And if we wrap up Kerkez before this Club World Cup thing finishes, I mean, this is like you said, uncharted territory is the perfect way to describe this because I still don't believe it. It's interesting also like watching the other side of like watching the other teams and watching them react to this. Oh, he's a flop. Look at how much money they spent. Like that's usually what we have to do, right?
Yes.
You know?
That's our job.
Yeah. Well, you know, we bought this unheard of 21-year-old for $25 million. And okay, sure. As the season goes on, that 21-year-old for $25 million usually turns out to be pretty good. And like, what a steal! But like at this stage, we're in the denial of like, I would never spend $120 million for that guy. And then secretly you're like, man, I wish we would fucking spend $120 million.
Jason, what's going on, man? Nunez has to go for some reason. People want to pay. Yeah, I don't know why people. I mean, look, he has all the physical talents. I think a lot of other teams feel, because if you notice, nobody from the Premier League is in for him. I think people feel like, you know, and I think he will like do well in Serie A or somewhere like that in a different league where he can use the speed and all that kind of stuff. He has a lot of like physical traits. It's just not working out for this one. You were about to say something, John. Go.
Yeah. To add to Gordo, what Gordo was saying, I think what rival fans, why they're just up in arms and everything, I think it's fear, man. Like, not to gas us up too much, it's fear, because this is the last sort of gear that we could shift to as an org, as a club, where if we do win something, we build on it supremely. Because the last time we won the league, like, okay, we got a Thiago who's probably downhill, right? We got Jota who was still unproven. Like, I mean, at Wolves he was good, but then unproven at the top level. And we got a backup for our left back. So that's not exactly an A+ window where we got someone who could legitimately start over our. I mean, Thiago, yeah, but then at the same time, you knew how injury prone he was, and we got him for what, 30 million. So that isn't exactly a Florian Wirtz, right? Right now, getting the best 10, arguably the best 10 in the world, it's uncharted territory. We've never gone for someone who's an established superstar at the moment.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're doing it right now, like I said, that's the last gear we could shift into. Rival fans are like, oh, holy shit, these guys can actually go back to back or go on the 3-peat. And that's a scary thought, especially for Arsenal fans, mind you. Just saying. Like, Arsenal fans are,
Well, Arsenal technically won the league because they had more points last year than we did.
They did, yeah.
So
they won
we shouldn't forget that. Should not forget that.
Let's talk about this. I have this actually ready to roll over here. Bayer Leverkusen is now interested on a separate deal because these have to be separate because of the financial fair play. Well, it's not called financial fair play anymore, but it has to be separate. It can't be a trade or deal like we see in American sports over here. So you get the net income coming in. I'm really kind of like not sold on this concept, John, of moving Kwanzaa, unless it is for a lot of money. I just feel like the replacement cost, unless they already have somebody in mind, and unless, you know, Slot has kind of like given up on him. It doesn't feel like he's given up on him because he did get opportunities here and there as the season went on, and he wasn't Chiesa, you know what I mean? He wasn't put all the way in the back and forgotten about. He was playing occasionally. So I don't think he's been written off yet. And not to mention, people are talking now in terms of needs, and the center back conversation comes up, like, do we have enough? Because we know, like Gomez's injury history and stuff like that. So when you sell Kwanzaa, that makes the need even bigger.
Yeah, and our first choice right center half isn't exactly reliable on the injury front as well. We were just talking about it last week on how much money we would give him per week, and I said that I wouldn't give him that 200,000 that he might want because I'm still worried about his injury prone and I still am about Konate, and which is all the more reason why I agree with you. Like, Kwanzaa, he's had some moments last year where it looked a little rough, but then at the same time, he's 22. There's still a lot. I can't say that I would take Liam Delap at 22 years old and go with all the ifs, buts, and maybes that he would bring to the squad and not feel the same way with Gerald Kwanzaa. But we should probably keep him, probably see what happens, from a development standpoint. There will be games, especially if we're in all competitions, where he's going to start for sure. And even in the league where, we have a big Champions League game midweek, we have a supposedly lesser opponent in the weekend. Yeah, start Kwanzaa alongside Van Dijk. Let's see what happens. So, yeah, I don't see it unless we get, I don't know, what's the fee you're looking for? I would say I would part with him reluctantly for 45 upwards. I think that's what someone would give him, given he's 22. He's got good upside. 45 or upwards might tempt me.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting that, by the way.
Really?
Gordo. Well, he hardly played. If you can get 45 million for a player that didn't play last year, I'd go ahead and take it for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
we did get 10 million. We did get 10 million off of some guy's free contract, so it's not impossible.
That was a joke.
Right? Yeah.
What a joke. And here's another analogy for you. That's just some guy just like throwing money. Here you go, take that.
Yeah. and that was 10 million, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was 10 million, right? We got 10 million off of a free contract. So I don't think 45 million for Kwanzaa is out of the question.
for a tournament, that doesn't matter yet,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Do you guys think if it is like, like the money spent, like this bid will be higher than the other one, because for Bayer Leverkusen, especially on paper, it looked a lot better to kind of hold up and get a lot out of Wirtz. Damn, see, I'm going to do this a lot. Wirtz. But do you think, Gordo, for example, there's a thing where they're like, okay, we'll give you guys what you want for Wirtz, but then you have to give 45 for Kwanzaa because we got to look good too? Or is that too much conspiracy theory there?
Normally I'd be like, no, but in today's day and age where the headlines you could put something in a headline and forget about what's actually going on, and that's all people are going to read anyways.
Yep.
And maybe just save a little face, maybe like the agreement was 110, which was that was our third offer, was 110 for him.
I think so, yeah.
And maybe it's like, all right, we'll give you the extra money, and then you just give it back to us when we
Yeah, I really think so, right? You're like, what is it? What are we arguing over here? Like 10? Okay, why don't we get 10? But then instead of 35, you give Kwanzaa 45, John, and then everybody's happy. Everybody looks good. I mean, in the first scenario, Leverkusen looks good because they got the max for their player. I'm sure, Leverkusen fans are not huge on losing their manager, Frimpong, Wirtz, and everybody in the same offseason. But I mean, I think you were mentioning it before we went on air. Is getting Kwanzaa in for Ta, who also they lost in this offseason to Bayern. Yeah. Is that really enough for Leverkusen? They're like, here's the replacements, and then go get him.
They're probably, if they're going to push through with this, right, and label him as the Ta replacement, then they're probably poised for a rebuild season to an extent, where you're going to see what happens with this guy right here. We're probably not expecting any trophies this year, kind of a deal, if they go with that. And to your point, that if this is sort of a behind the scenes handshake agreement, okay, we get Wirtz for this, we're missing this sort of fee, but we can make up for it when we sell you Kwanzaa. I'd take it all day long. Like I said, 40, 45 and up for Kwanzaa. As much as you make a good case for us keeping him, there's probably still an upside there. That's a lot of money, man. That Michael Edwards can invest on someone who can probably be better. He's got to. Yeah. I'm gassing up Edwards too much, but his talent ID has been next to perfect, right?
If you only sold Diaz, you would just be the happiest guy.
Listen. I cut up some shorts for Gal that Gally mentioned that Gordon would be Anthony Gordon. I mean, our Gordon would be a great, replacement.
Thank you.
No,
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I joined a men's soccer team down here, and it's indoor because there's 120-degree heat in the
Right.
summer, and it's 20-minute halves, and after 8 minutes, I was like, holy. It's not.
Listen, I got on a basketball game last weekend for the first time in a while, and I know how you feel, my friend.
Yeah, it's the first time since 2019 that I've played in any sort of professional, or not professional, but in any sort of.
Wait, what? They signed you over there?
What I was saying before you go, Tim, if we were just trying to get Gordon, I don't know. I like Diaz. I'd keep Diaz.
Whoa, clip that one. Jesus.
Yeah,
okay.
I would keep Diaz. Yeah.
Wait. No, dudes. I don't know if you guys watch the youth team a lot, but yeah, I am not sold on now. I don't know why. He's so hyped up as a center back, and no, I don't see anything. I rarely get to watch the full games, but I do watch a lot of highlights and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't look at it as senior appearance. That was just dumb luck kind of an ordeal. But yeah, I just don't think I don't think you have somebody that you're gonna put up from the youth team. You're going to have to go sign, and that's the only thing I can think of is, we're okay with it because we have this eye on the sky over here that's only going to cost us 25 or something like that, and we're going to actually make money and get somebody that slot feels at least is just as good. Because I don't know, I'm sold on Kwanzaa. I think he's he's a good player. For his age, he's very solid. Yeah, anything, if we're still talking, no one's a problem. Anything north of 40, get him gone.
I mean, 22, if we're still talking about development at 22, it's not the end of the world, right?
Not for a center back. I think that age has to change based on position, and I think for a center back you have to go. I mean, Van Dijk at 22 was not significantly better than Kwanzaa or anything like that. So you have to bear that in mind. I think that's a position it's like wine. It just gets better as it waits. I have alcohol analogies. The team that got the best player won the trade, says Jason. And for the first time in my adult life, we won the window. It sure feels like that, Gordo. And if you get Kerkez in, I think you don't, even if you didn't do anything rest of the window, it would feel like we won the window, which kind of scares me. I'm not big on winning the window.
I disagree with that, but yeah, go ahead.
You'd have to sell Nunez and then you win the window.
No.
Now you win the window.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Gordo. Yeah.
It's hard for me to express my feelings because I've never felt this before.
That's true.
Not even in college.
Yeah. So I'm struggling to find the words, but yes, if we bought it, which it sounds like we are well within our negotiation with that one, which is insane because I keep looking down and going, yes, it is only June 11th. Yes, I am awake, and we're almost signed 3 players that we circled right in the beginning, and we've already nailed them. I would say on that, just for us, if you don't look at the rest of the league, if you look at our fan base, yes, we won the window. This is something that we've been maybe wanting. I think a lot of transfer windows, we always we have the tendency to placate ourselves a little bit and be like, they know what they're doing. We'll just leave them, and then we turn the you hit the leave studio button, and then we're like, I wish we would have signed somebody.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, in that sense, over the last 10, 12, 15 years, this is a window win for this club. But definitely what John said before, I think the rest of the league is looking at us and going, man, we built on what we already had. Because everyone was laughing at us last year. Yeah. And they're like, they finished, they barely get into the Champions League, and now they haven't bought anybody, and they got a new manager. This is going to be great. They're going to finish 9th, and then we win the league. So that was already surprising. And then they go on and buy 3 top targets and sell Nunez, and that's a win for everyone.
I think that's what makes it a win for me, John. The fact that, I mean, it's not going to be over because there will be outgoings, and because there will be outgoings, there has to be incomings to kind of like offset that anyway. But the reason I look at it as like they would have won the window is, let's say, Arsenal go and get a striker and they'll be competing, right? But you're looking at starting points and it looks like you're starting way ahead and you just added and got a lot better. Whereas they're putting in a missing piece in there, you are basically improving your pieces, is what you're doing.
Yeah, and using a track and field analogy, because Sir Z hates the basketball analogy, right? I did a little track when I was in high school.
But I don't know how many of us are going to get the track analogy. Go for it.
No. If, for example, they fired a gun, like go, like we already started. Like to your point, we already started running. Like we're there. We're closer to the finish line than any of our rivals are. They're still at the starting point. I mean, City started, I guess, but then at the same time, they're not yet done. And given how much holes their squad had last year, that's a really, really big rebuild. But I guess why I mentioned earlier when Gordo was about to say what his thoughts on the window, why I feel like it's not a win yet, I still feel like that midfielder, that holding / defensive midfielder role, who can start over Gravenberch or McAllister at any given day, is still a glaring piece. Because the reason why we sort of fell off as the season kind of winded down was the midfield legs. And who knows, right? He can sort of improve a lot. Curtis Jones, he can improve massively next year, right? Now, we didn't false start at the gun. The gun was already fired, and we already started running. The other teams, they haven't started running yet, is what I'm trying to say.
It's like in the end of the Incredibles.
Right, exactly.
No, slow down.
Yeah. We're going too fast. Like the teams are telling us to slow down. But what I was saying is like I'm still looking for that midfielder because I feel like we could use him. Our first choice midfielders right now are Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai. And if it all depends on where Wirtz is playing, which is why I mentioned a few shows ago, Tim, where I see him playing as that false nine. Because I think Szoboszlai's pressing is too hard to ignore from that 10 role. Where I think Slot is probably going to go like, we don't want to run Wirtz to the ground because we rely on him too much on that creativity aspect. So we got to keep Szoboszlai in that 10 to keep on pressing. Which leaves us back to square one in terms of our two holding midfielders, Gravenberch, McAllister. We still don't have adequate depth for them, I would say. Yeah.
You're absolutely right because here we are that like I had even fallen into it as you were saying that, but we've all accepted that McAllister is now a holding midfielder. We're like his best role he was phenomenal, right? And he definitely has earned that spot. And if that's where he wants to play, he's been lights out all season and we relied on him so heavily. But like I still think that you're right. Because I've totally forgotten about that piece. It's like we need somebody that's more of a holding midfielder because I think if you unlock McAllister and let him be like that roaming midfielder, then I think that this is an unstoppable attacking force. We just need to secure the back behind them because, I think I still think we've kind of pushed him into that role. I still don't think that's his best spot, which is crazy to say because he was phenomenal all season.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is his best spot personally. I mean, I've been like fighting this fight for a while because I think he has the intelligence to run the game, like control the pace and stuff like that. And that's an easier position, a better position to do that, as opposed to being the free flow. And I think when you sign Wirtz, you basically just said, yeah, that's where Mac is staying automatically because you can't have everybody roam around. This is not your cattle ride over there. You can't have everybody just being like roaming around the midfield. So I think when you sign Wirtz, you're almost saying, yes, that's where Mac is staying. I agree with what John is saying in terms of rotating that, like getting somebody else. Look, there's still some needs. More than likely, you're going to move Elliott because he wants to go somewhere where he plays and stuff. But as of things are now, it really depends on where you're going to play Wirtz, because I agree. But he was like, they were spewing some stats last night, like he's the guy who won the most balls in Bundesliga and the opponent third and stuff like that. So he does know how to press. It's just a matter of I know over there he plays a lot more like in a roaming role. Like, will he have a discipline in terms of where to be when pressing? And I'm assuming he will. He's smart enough to be able to do that. I guess really depends on if you're playing as if you're getting another striker, then doesn't Soboslai get into that mix of the midfield and you need one less midfielder to sign?
Do you guys trust Szoboszlai in that holding role? I don't. I don't.
I do after a full off season.
I feel like he gets into tackles too weakly. Is weakly a word? Like, yeah.
I know we have to look that up.
Like he can be stronger sometimes.
He's a saloon door.
That's exactly.
You've been in Texas way too freaking long. Right?
The thing is, like, when he tries to tackle, he kind of comes in like Trent. But then the difference between him and Trent, like Szoboszlai's so high up the pitch, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like the problem with Trent is that when he tackles, he's literally close to the last line of defense, so it kind of is scary.
Yeah.
So, but then if you push him downward, Szoboszlai, those tackles kind of matter more. Those 50-50s matter. He's got to win those. That's what worries me about it a little bit.
Yeah, by the way, I was watching like, you know, within that YouTube hole for Wirtz, there was one showing him playing against us in the Champions League. And goddamn, Trent sucked at defending. I was exposed to that hopefully for the last time. I'm like, he's just like Wirtz.
I think I saw that. Was that when Gravenberch had to run to help him out? I think like something.
Yeah, like Wirtz goes by. I mean, it's just typical Trent. He's just like jogging behind us versus like dancing towards our goal kind of a deal. But Salah I feel like, you know, we've been talking about this for a while. I guess it really depends on if you get Kerkez over the line as well, which seems very likely. The weird thing is, and I think that's what makes this preseason so interesting and the rest of the transfer season so interesting, Gordo, we have no idea. Like in the past, when we got Thiago, for example, like John was saying, after the title winning season, we were like, hey, you know, like we kind of know he's going to be the one that opens up, you know, low blocks and stuff. Like we have no idea like we made some huge signings and we have no idea where they're going to play or how they're going to play. That's Frimpong. I mean, Kerkez is probably the only one who's like, well, if he comes in, he's going to play left back. But Frimpong, we don't know how he's going to be utilized. And Wirtz, we don't know how he's going to be utilized.
That's exciting because, because these are also players that, like, they probably could play wherever the hell we want them to play. You know, they're, like, good enough to, I think we all trust Slot. I think he can put them in whatever capacity he wants, and they're going to make this team better. And I think that's it's very exciting. I feel like a kid on Christmas because I'm just like, let's just get out. I can't wait for the season to start. Let's get going.
Same. I can't wait, like, because I know when we talk here during the summer, we're just like, transfers and then training camp and everything. I dare say, because there was a point last year where the three of us were talking where we're going to be so excited to see how Slot plays differently from Klopp, right? Like right now, like that excitement is just turned up to 100 given who the players that we're getting and we're possibly getting. Like I can't wait for preseason.
Let me ask you guys this. Ozan Kabaka is asking about Joe Gomez. I think we were talking about him on Monday. Somebody in the audience asked, and I really would like him to stay. But along with that, Endo, I really think towards the end of the season, Slot figured out a role for him.
Yes.
You know, come in and be like, oh, this is what this guy is going to do. And I think, you know, looking back, like he would have probably keep going back to that Everton game. I think he would have come in that Everton game if Slot knows what he knows now, kind of a thing. We are going to Japan for a tour. So the writing on the wall is he stays. We're not going over there to say, hey, we brought this guy back to you guys. We don't want him anymore. So I'm assuming he will be staying because, first of all, like there's a value to him, not only. And here's another thing. He's another guy that you have in that squad who is happy with his role, like who's content with being the squad guy, coming in when called upon, and not a guy that's going to cause trouble because he's not getting enough minutes or anything like that.
Darwin.
I saw that. I thought Endo took all the pictures of Liverpool off his Instagram the other day. So just those are the kind of guys that you need in like a championship squad. Every team that has ever been decent has had one of these guys in the squad. It's basically the litmus test. Like if you don't work as hard as this guy who never gets minutes, like you're probably below this line. It's funny that you bring that up because that was something that I had wrote down this week. Is I was on so many flights this week that I had wrote down some notes to talk about, and of course left him in Amarillo. So here we are. But one of those points was, did you think that he started playing Endo towards the end of the season more frequently because the back office was like, "Yo, we're going to Japan. We need to play that guy." Like, it's kind of like this is bad. It's bad for marketing if we go there.
Listen, if you're like Sir Z, who loves putting on his tinfoil hat, that is a valid observation. Granted, like, it's not like the role that Slot asked him to play, he's not good at it. He's very good at it. Like, what is our success rate when we bring in Endo to close out the game? Like,
yeah. It may have been just he's never had a player like that.
Yeah.
You know, where like, oh wait, I can literally put this guy out and he's going to like run himself into the ground in whatever capacity I ask him to, and without complaint or like confusion and I think that's when we started seeing him. You know, it was maybe by he needed to because we didn't have the legs and like there was necessity. He had no other person to turn. He's like, maybe I'll try this guy. I'm like, oh, all right, I see what he's got here, and started utilizing him more and more. So I think we'll see Endo a heck of a lot more this season because I do think that he's found that role and he's found that capacity that can play him in and close games down and settle games down, because that's one thing that Endo does really well is every once in a while we'll get into those 2-1 situations and the game, everyone just kind of starts the whole, you can hear it in the crowd every once in a while. And the passing starts to become sloppier. It starts to become back and forth. You put Endo in there, and that totally shuts down.
Yeah, I think he, like I say, he's a good closer to have. Like, I mean, I was calling him even before he started, like, kind of being used for that role, kind of like the Japanese Milner comes in, puts in a couple of tatas, maybe takes a yellow card for the team to stop an attack or whatever, but getting some physicality and basically actually gets some fouls on because he's throwing his body all over the place and all that. And you do need, and like I say, the fact that he's okay with his role. I mean, we were talking about Costas, for example, you know, like being okay with that role. You do need some people that are like that. I understand everybody's like, oh, like competition for every spot and stuff like that. But some people have to realize that, hey, this is my role. I'm going to play the role to the best. And when, you know, if something else happens, opportunity comes, I'm going to take it. I mean, similar to like Kelleher, for example, like, you know, like you got to know your exact role and do it. Let me ask you guys this, because we're talking about Gomez. I mean, we're talking about Kwanzaa earlier. And so this just popped in my head. Somebody comes in and they say 45 right here. Give me one of these center backs. They don't care which one. Which one are you giving, John?
I hate to say it, but you're not getting 45 for Gomez anymore. I would give Gomez. You're not getting 45 for Gomez anymore, I think. Given how injury prone he is, he's plateaued, I would say, for his career. This is as good as he gets. I don't think he's going to get better anymore. And the fact that Kwanzaa still got an upside, there's a genuine chance he can still be a $60-70 million center back in 2 or 3 years. So I hate to say it, I would give Gomez.
But I mean, if they're talking about selling him now,
right?
You're not getting 60-70. I know what you're saying, but on this,
no, yeah. But then
like that, you're not going to get that money yourself.
Right. But then Kwanzaa has more upside. That's simple as for me.
I think that's what you're like basically deciding on, Gordo. Are you keeping the experience and know what you have and what he can do, albeit the risk of injury, or are you going with the guy with the potential who's prone to making some brutal mistakes? And I think unfortunate for the kid, the mistakes he has made has always cost us. Maybe because usually when he plays, like Van Dijk wasn't next to him to save the day and stuff like that. But which one do you pick? If I put the money on the table and said, give me one of those guys.
It has to be Gomez, because for what John said, you're not going to get that money. So if they're like, just give us whoever, and that would be the smart move. The other thing is too that we have to think of is like he didn't see Gomez at all, right? Like, this is a new manager that Gomez has not had a chance to prove himself even in training because of his injury.
But he played in the first City game, for example.
Yeah.
I did not remember Gomez playing until I fell in a YouTube hole.
That's how comfortable that win was. We didn't even care who was the center back partnership, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, because we were worried about that because that was right off the heels of the Real Madrid game in the
Yep.
Champions League as well. So, and what I looked at when I was thinking about Gomez was those celebrations. It didn't feel to me, he was included, which was great. It was great to see him out there. It did not feel like a swan song, soak this in, kid. You're never going to see
Yeah.
this again.
Yeah.
He was very much a part of it, and he didn't he wasn't looking at the cop. Like when he got the trophy, everyone wasn't around him and thanks for everything, buddy. It felt like he may have already had a conversation that he was staying because it just seemed so comfortable. It didn't seem emotional. It didn't seem like this was the last time we were going to see him. So I don't think we're selling him. But if somebody comes and says, "Give us a center back for $41 million," thanks, Joe. You've been phenomenal.
It's been great, man. It's been great.
I think he would understand that too.
Yeah, I think that, basically just on potential, maybe you keep Kwanzaa. I just feel like, especially for the short run, Gomez would be a lot more valuable. Depends on where you're using Frimpong, but if you're using Frimpong not as a right back and in some other capacity or whatever, he's also your backup for Bradley because he's a lot better playing right back than Kwanzaa was playing right back. He looked a lot more natural doing it. So, man, that'd be a tough goal. That's why I wanted to. Well, you guys were like very easily picked Kwanzaa. I think you guys see Kwanzaa's potential. So then you guys are against, I would assume, based on that, John, you're against selling him to Leverkusen.
But then 45 or higher, man, like I said, it tempts me with what Edwards can do with that money. Like you said, Gomez can still be a short-term option if we sell Kwanzaa right now. Assuming he stays healthy, and then assuming, it's all assumptions, right? Assuming Edwards uses that money really well to get like a young, promising center back who's like younger than Kwanzaa, who has the good upside as well. Yeah, I trust them 100% to use that money wisely and to line up our sort of next center back regimen, I would say. Like I like Kwanzaa, but then for 45 or higher, I think I would pull the trigger. Right? Like, it's kind of too hard to ignore.
That's kind of interesting. Okay, you don't want to see Nalo, dude. I'm telling you, I've seen Nalo, and you don't. I've seen him for you. You do not. Not at the Premier League level, that's for sure. Okay, so I guess this is a good question. Let's say you have to bring in a sub. Konate gets hurt. Which one do you want coming off the bench to play center back? Because I pick Gomez.
Same. I picked Gomez too. But then we talked about
it. He's calling Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is it's too early to be like proven that wrong in the span of 5 minutes. Because you're right. I would go. John and I are both like, bye, Gomez. And then Mr. Matty Ryan just says something, and we're both like, yeah, actually, you know what? I probably
it's all about situationals because if we're bringing in someone, it's right now, and right now Gomez is the better player. But then if we're talking about bigger picture, it probably makes more sense to keep Kwanzaa if you were going to pick between the two. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's why I still pick Joe because I have more faith in him, and I know what you guys are saying. But this offseason, you're addressing a lot of things with the Van Dijk. You bought yourself another year, I think, in terms of addressing your center back issues. So you invest, big money next season for that future center back kind of thing. Wildest says, "Where's Simikas going?" I don't know, to the coffee shop to get Mo's coffee. So that he can stick around. I have no idea.
Flew for a nap.
But we are assuming. We were talking about Robertson's comments last week sometime. Maybe it was on the Monday Night Podcast. I can't remember, but he does sound like a guy who's going to stick around and play that role and play when he's called upon and stuff like that. So, out of those two, Gordo, do you see? I think anybody I ask, even Costas himself, would pick Robertson to stay over him. But who do you pick to stay? Like, who do you think will end up staying? I think we would automatically pick Robertson, both for emotional reasons and as well as performance reasons. But who do you think is going to end up staying there?
I think Slot would pick him as well. And I think that's what we do. Now, this is the interesting part because we still don't really know. A lot of times it's clear. We might figure that out as the years go on. But we still don't know who's got like final say in transfers and things like that. So we've got a manager that would probably pick Robertson, but then we have a back office who is looking at, like John's saying, who's got high potential for upsell in the future, who is going to make us money now. And strategically, you'd probably move Robertson now because you can still get something for him. He's still got something to give, a mid-level team, championship team, for sure, a championship team. But there are leagues in Europe that would take him, and he would probably be first choice left back. So move him now, because in a couple of years, you're not going to get anything for him, because you've already seen he's definitely started to run himself into the ground in terms of his fitness. So from a tactical point, move Robertson. From what we've seen this year, from choices, and then from obviously just our emotional commitment to Robertson, I think you move Costas.
See, my thing is, I understand the money, and that does make sense, until you look at how much you're going to get for Costas now compared to how much you're going to get for. I think the less people see of Costas, the better in terms of his value. But no, seriously, like if he stays another 2 years, he's not going to double his value. You got Kerkez. I mean, if you're getting, this is all under the assumption that we're getting Kerkez to play left back. So there's nothing that, he's going to do that's going to increase his value that much. I feel personally, and I'll ask you, John, that the increase you're going to get, like an extra 3 million, 5 million, is not worth making a move for like the lesser player. I'd rather keep Robertson, I would think, as a club, and say, hey, even if he runs out his contract, it is what it is. We're only losing 3 to 5 million, but we're keeping the reliable option.
And I think Slot knows that as well. Like in terms of what the unquantifiables, I would say, for Robertson. Like he gives the leadership, he helps organize the back line. He's close with most of the players. Like you can't put a price on that. And I feel like coming off of a championship, you look at those unquantifiables, and you wanna keep them around. You want to keep as much continuity around, which is why you always say, like with the front line, you don't want to lose too much people, because this is like, even with all our gripes with the front line, it's still a championship winning front line, right?
Yeah.
With Salah, Jota, and Diaz and Nunez and so on and so forth. Like you can get away with giving away Nunez, but they're not too much, not too much. So the same goes with
you don't look at the front line and be like, they want us. Like last time, you could say the front three. I know it was a different system. You had 3 midfielders working for the ones up top, but you could say that front three won you the title in some ways. I don't think like it's the last thing that I say now, and that's what makes this season odd for me. Because obviously Mo had a great season, especially in the earlier on, and like until like the last 2 months or something like that. But it just feels more of a group efforts, line by line.
Yeah, it's more distributed now. Like you could say that the midfield, with McAllister, especially Gravenberg, especially early on, like what they contributed, like defense as well. I thought Diaz was comfortably our second best attacker. Because Gakpo had that spell where he came back from injury. He looked like Gakpo of old. That kind of ruined it for me. So Diaz definitely. And if Gakpo can stay injury free next year, we're probably cooking, right? So I would say
you need a piece in the middle, don't you, for Nunez? It doesn't have to be a huge piece, but it feels like you need the center forward, so you're not playing your wingers there.
If we get Wirtz in, I think Jota is going to have a way better season if we keep him.
Science is really making a lot of strides these days. I saw that, the first baby that was made with CRISPR, where they changed the genome. Maybe if we found a way to, it's Nunez's health with Jota's skill, and we wouldn't have to buy anybody. We just spend 100 million in the lab, and we create a player.
Invest the money in science instead. Yeah, that would be an ideal combination, but unfortunately we can't go there. Mo, Diaz, and Gakpo, and but honestly, that's, I think, says more about our center forwards than our left wingers, and that's why it was kind of like an odd ordeal. But there's more to come this off season in the transfer markets, because there will be outgoings, and I think this is a great place to now sit and wait and then obviously we can't do any signings for a week now for another 5 days. By the way, let me ask that on the way out. Are you guys going to be watching a lot of this highly anticipated tournaments that even they can sell the tickets to? That's, I don't know. I look at some of the teams and I was like, how did you guys end up over here? But are you going to be watching these festivities, Gordo?
No, because eventually you have to say these are too many games, and then actually not watch them when they give them to you, which is like the one thing we always do is like, this is too many games, and then you tune it in, watching every single Champions League game, you're watching the Euro Nations, you're watching all this stuff, and like eventually you just have to be like, you know what, it is enough, and I'm not watching. So no, I'm not going to be watching.
It's we got to support one in the U.S. No, we don't. No, nobody needs to support that. What, we're gonna watch Inter? I mean, come on, Inter Miami. I don't think so. I'm gonna pass. The weird thing is, I'm starting vacation. Basically, tomorrow nights we head out and stuff. So we got next week. Normally, there's like these summer tournaments. It's kind of like me in the afternoon, kicking about, just like watching the games and stuff. I'm looking at the game times. Like, I don't know. I just picked like a random date over here. Next Wednesday, there's a game at 11. Then there's a game at 8. So I don't even know how the hell that happens. It's like one of them is in the crack. I assume because it's too damn hot, you got to do it really early or really late, kind of a thing. But are you going to be watching this?
I didn't even know that the tournament was on after the. I only knew it because of the whole Trent situation. Like if Trent wasn't going to Madrid, and then the discussion about the Club World Cup, I wouldn't care. I heard about how they forced Inter Miami in, though. That was hilarious. But then other than that, I don't care. I don't give I don't give a
And where are the games? Yeah. So they're like scattered around? Is that what it is? Because Ozan says City and Chelsea games are both in Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like, yeah, I think a lot of people are like that.
There's still that bitterness as well with me where they didn't make us wear that. They didn't let us wear that Club World Cup badge when we fucking won it.
Yeah, yeah. And now you get to wear it for 4 years or whatever.
Right, yeah. Right. That still pisses me off because it looked glorious. It looked glorious with the jerseys we had at the time.
And then City got to wear it for the entire season. Yeah, and they're like, you can wear it for like 2 games. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Like, you also
wear it for the weekend.
Yeah, we're not going to move around these League Cup games either, by the way. So just enjoy that. Yeah. And then,
I'm more pissed off that we didn't get that money that these guys are going to get. I mean, I realized it was much less of a tournament, but hey, at the end, I think this is going to be something that we look at January, February, March, and say, well, good thing we had a full off season. As like I think Arsenal and Liverpool will have a huge leg up on City because of that. In some ways, though, I'm sure City can argue that this is good for them with all the people they added in January and stuff like that to kind of like bed some of these guys in and get, because they have a rebuild. So it's probably better for them to start building up. But at the same time, I just don't know down the road having these short summer. I mean, those guys would have played. I mean, they played last summer, most of them. Now they're going to play again this summer. It's just like nonstop. But they get paid the big bucks. So does Chelsea have actually any players in their team from 4 years ago? Yeah, I don't think so. But then they'll be about our signings over here. So Gordo, are we going to get you regularly? Now that you're the boss, shouldn't you be like, you know what, guys? I'm going to the podcast.
I will. It'll be sparing. It's going to be one of these things where, because I'm traveling a lot, so it'll be when I'm traveling, I'm able to get out and do it. Because I have to be in the office on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I can work from home on Mondays and Fridays, but I have to be in the office on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So it's been now. As soon as I hang this call up, I'm going to have to speak to a homeowner because their dog. We did a pole replacement and a little treatment, and the treatment is like a salt-based treatment for the pole, and a dog just absolutely tore it up, and the lady thought, she went out and she thought that we just left her yard a mess. It was actually her dog was digging the electricity pole up. So now I have to call her and explain that the dog is eating.
So are you gonna ride your horse over there, or like how do you...
As soon as I cross the border, as soon as I crossed the border, they gave me a horse, a cowboy hat, and an AR-15. So it's
nice.
It's like I have a company horse. On the side of the horse, on the saddle, you have the company logo.
Exactly.
Well, thanks. Hey, good to have you back, man. Good to have a reunion over here. anytime. And thanks to all those joining us today. Give us a like, subscribe, comments, and all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate the comments. Goes a long way. And it's always a great conversation to have. I'll be gone. I know Gally is going to be filling in for me on Friday morning. So they'll have the Reckless Friday while I'm gone. I think the only show we will be missing in the mornings will be next Monday. Otherwise, John is going to be hosting the festivities next Wednesday, and then Gally again, I think, doing the.
I have a secret plan that I'm going to unveil this weekend for that show. So good thing you're on vacation, my friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I will turn my notifications off. I am going to our annual. Going to Ibiza to dance with sluts. And it's like, where's he at? I thought he was here. No, it's gonna be. We do our annual trip to Outer Banks to North Carolina. So gonna be heading out on the drive tomorrow night, and then spending the week over there. This is what we do like every year with Angie's family over there. Just rent a house and stuff like that. And usually I just chill by the pool, watch. And now as I chill by the pool, I come up with ideas for American Scouser. That's where I came up with the 24-hour podcast. So just wait till I come back with another vicious idea for the boys. But yes, thanks a lot as always. And tomorrow night, do tune in for the Bolt Crew. They will be on 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. And then we'll see what other transfer they're talking about. Wirtz, whatever Mecca is going to say. So have a great day, everybody.